Welcome to the collaborative. I'm your host, Sydnee Walker. Today we are joined by Carly Ebisuya. Carly is the Director of Public Relations and Communications for the WNBA Chicago Sky. She handles and oversees all the day-to-day media relations and communications between the organization and media members. She previously worked for the Los Angeles Lakers and Los Angeles Chargers. Carly is a proud graduate of the University of Oregon, where she double majored in journalism and PR and double minored in sports business and business administration. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
First up, we have Sid's This or That Chicago edition. I'll give you a few options and you'll tell me your preference and why.
Oh, I love this. Okay,
So
perfect.
first, Italian beef or Maxwell Street Polish?
Italian beef. I love sandwich.
Oh, I'm going with the Polish. I love a good Polish.
Nice.
The bean or Navy Pier?
Ooh, I feel like if you're a first timer, I would say the bean. If you have more time in your trip or in your itinerary, I would say Navy Pier because there's more to check out and you see a beautiful view of Lake Michigan. But I'd say if you're coming for the first time as a first timer, I'd say the bean because it's iconic.
Last time I was in Chicago, the bean was shut down, so I went to the pier. And it was nice because at the end they had the Lyft and Uber pickup, so I didn't have to
Yeah.
worry about anything.
Yeah, you just come right back. Yep. And they have the Ferris wheel now too. But yeah, the bean was closed for like over a year. So it's open now.
Chicago Bulls or Chicago Bears?
Oh, Cindy, you can't do me like that. Oh,
Hey, it's
geez.
not the Sky. I
Well,
had to go with some other teams.
I know. Stay neutral. Pick the sky. The Bears have not been doing great on the field this year. Geez, I'm just gonna, I can't pick between them. They're two of my favorites. So that one's a hard one. I'll have to plead the fifth on that one.
All good. And last but not least, deep dish or thin crust?
I feel like deep dish you would just have to try when you're in Chicago, but I'm from LA originally, so I feel like thin crust, the core, that's like my core, but you have to try deep dish when you're in Chicago. Like it's just a must. I think it's just too filling for me, honestly. Like one or two slices is enough, whereas thin crust, like you can kind of keep going.
I agree with you. I'm definitely choosing thin crust.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering those.
Yeah. That was fun.
Carly, to kick things off, let's discuss the rise of women's sports. The WNBA is starting to gain more recognition, and the Chicago Sky is one of the teams that have been key in that rise. What do you think has been the most impactful strategy in building the team's brand?
Oh, there's so many aspects. I think to your first point, the league is growing. Whether that's investment in teams, whether that's expansion teams, we have Portland, Toronto, um, Golden State coming in too. That starts with the league level too, as well. And comes down obviously to the organizations themselves. So it starts with expansion. Then it trickles down to the teams, the people are investing. We have D Wade as one of our investors. You have big people, heavy hitters investing money and time and resources into these women, these female athletes, as they should. And then again, trickles down to TV rights, media deals, etc., getting more of our games up. Our viewership went up, I think, over 300% or something like that. I don't know the exact numbers. Starts with viewership, getting our games accessible. And then obviously down in the Chicago level, we just won a championship not that long ago. So keeping that kind of championship caliber contending team, I think that's important. Everyone in Chicago wants to win. I think that's overall, right? So I that's a very complex question, but I feel like it trickles down from so many levels, but all of those levels are really, really increasing, hyping up, standing up, and just putting money where their mouth is, honestly. So I think it trickles down from a lot of levels, but here at the Sky, it's just been going upward. Like we only won a championship 3 years ago. So the sky is the limit, I like to say.
As a graduate of the University of Oregon, you were able to gain experience both on camera and behind the scenes. What initially drew you to sports PR?
I think because I had a journalism background, it was easier for then to translate those skills into sports PR/communications. I think overall, no matter what you do in sports media, writing, having strong writing skills is the it's just a smooth one like across the board. You absolutely need strong, great writing skills. And that comes in different forms as well. Like PR writing is definitely different than journalistic writing. But having strong writing skills across the board is super, super important. So I knew that's something I had. Writing was one of my strongest points. And then kind of transferring that over, as well as other skills, over to the PR/com side, made that transition a little bit easier. But to be able to be on the other side of that and tell the stories, or be able to pitch these stories of these athletes in a way that I'm on the other side of it now, coming from the journalistic side, really kind of helped me do that for the athletes or whoever I was representing at the time.
I'm so glad you touched on the importance of writing, because that really is the most important part. And when you're in a deadline or neat, concise, to the point efforts, it's really important that you have those skills and can hone in on them. The WNBA is home to a diverse group of athletes, each with their own compelling journey. How do you approach storytelling in your role to amplify those narratives?
I think obviously every athlete has a story, whether they're male or female, but I think that because there's so many eyes on the W right now, I think it's really, really important to capitalize on that. And a lot of people, obviously, this league was built with 25 plus women, not just the women that have been here, you know, in the past few years. So to be able to capitalize on veterans like Elizabeth Williams, who have been in the league for 9+ years and going on 10, Rachel Banham, who has been in the Midwest, a Midwest gal for her whole life. Stories like that where people, I think, have maybe are learning more about the W, I would say, not just the faces that are out there already, but this league was built on women such as Elizabeth, such as other veterans like her and Rachel. I'm talking about Sky players specifically, obviously, but I think that's what it's built on, and that's what it's going to be built on, is because these veterans have kind of really, really raised the bar on what this league is.
And even like you said, just help connecting with the fans if they don't know about the W. Hey, I can relate to this player, so I'll give the game a watch or something like that. So it's really neat to see those storylines.
Yeah, it's so easy too. Like, for instance, let's say Izzy had a really great game, and then they see maybe her tunnel fits on our social and be like, hey, you know, she seems really cool. I want to learn more about her and her story. Like, it really just starts with that accessibility. And I think social media is a huge part of that.
So PR is all about relationships, both with the media and the public. How do you cultivate strong relationships with reporters and other partners?
To me, it starts with trust. Like you said, it not only is with media members, it's with partners, it's with potential sponsors, it's with other media partners as well, league partners. So there are a lot of people that PR touch, and also not just from a media standpoint, but from a bunch of different departments within the organization. I feel like PR slash marketing is what I fall under here at the Sky, but I think that touches all of the different departments, whether that's ticketing, content, etc. Um, but yeah, to your point, I think cultivating that trust, especially with media members, is super, super important. You can't just kind of go in guns a-blazing, you know what I mean? You have to really be strategic in who you're pitching to, why you're pitching this person, or even nationally. You can't just, you know, write up a random ESPN writer per se. Like, who are the ones covering the W? Who are the ones that are around? Have they covered this player or team before? So one, just really doing your research, and two, just cultivating those relationships and that trust with them. So in that way, you know, if you want to pitch them a story, or, hey, you know, we have an opportunity that you can speak with one of our executives, you know, they'll be the first person you call. So really, to me, it's just cultivating that trust and building relationships is super, super key, especially in a PR comms role.
Lastly, what key skills would you recommend young professionals focus on developing, especially those looking to make an impact in the sports industry?
Writing, AP style. That's the first thing when I hire, that's the first thing I look at. How strong is your writing? Are you fluent in AP style? Obviously, people are going to make mistakes, but I think if you want to be in the sports media world and maybe aren't sure what direction you want to go in yet, having that strong writing, I think, is the fundamental foundational key aspect of that. Let's say you're applying for jobs, I'll use that as another example, kind of honing in on those skills that you need per se. Like, I can tell by looking at a job application or a resume that they did not tailor this resume for this job. To me, that screams like, oh, maybe they're just trying to check boxes, or they're not really actually passionate about it, this position specifically. They just kind of want to check the boxes and submit the application. really putting intention behind each application that you send out. I know it's very, very tiresome. And like you said, it's a job in itself. But really being intentional and strategic in terms of the job searching part. And then in turn of that, like I said before, writing skills, I think are really, really a strong point in any sports media job.
Thank you for sharing. I think intentional is a good word for everyone to keep in the forefront of their mind, just making sure you're tailoring everything to that job and being really authentic when you're applying. Carly, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. It was so great catching up with you again and really appreciate you sharing all of your PR wisdom and advice with these students and young professionals. You're doing such a great job with the Chicago Sky, and we look forward to following your journey.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm actually going to drop my email in the chat. If you want to save it or send me an email, I would love to connect with you all. You guys had great questions. I would love to learn more about you as well. So feel free to email me if you just want to chat WNBA. I'm here as well. So thank you guys so much for the opportunity. I'm happy to speak with you.